presentation, we will be discussing the most recent immigration news. I will be talking about USCIS fee increase. I do have a little video about this already, but here we're going to discuss it in more detail. I will talk also about the situation at the border, what's happening there. And in the end, you will have an opportunity to ask me a little question, and I will answer some of you guys' questions. I'm always happy to do so. Sometimes I cannot answer everyone's question, but as many as I can, I will. So thank you very much for joining. If this is your first time, welcome. I am a practicing attorney. I practice in all 50 states and overseas. I help people who need US immigration services. I do not handle Canadian immigration, just so you know, only United States immigration. And I've been doing it for about 15 years, a little bit more actually, in the United States. And I do have a great rate of success. Of course, again, I cannot guarantee you the result. If I do take the case, I usually am pretty confident that we can help you. And if you need to reach me, please call my office 917-885-2261. And let's start. Before we start, do not forget to say hello. Let me know where you're watching from, and type your questions in the chat so I will be able to refer to them when I have to. Hi, Carol. Hi, Kenny. Nice to see you guys. So let's start. The first topic I wanted to discuss is the United States border situation. Imagine that in the month of December 2023, just a couple of years ago, last year, the government recorded that 300,000 migrants crossed the border, southern border in December. This is the largest amount, such a great number of migrants crossed the border ever in the history of the United States, it seems. So it's unprecedented, the number of people crossing the border coming to the United States, 300,000. Some of you will ask me and others, what all these people are going to do in the United States? What are their plans? Are they going to stay illegal? How are they going to legalize? Most of these people will be placed in removal proceedings. They will be accounted for. They will have their date in court. However, courts are overwhelmed. So they may have to wait for a while. An absolute majority of these people will be filing for asylum in the United States. Hence, it takes me to the next topic. Something that we discussed last year is the topic of the issue of senators negotiating with the White House help for Ukraine, conditioning it upon the Democrats agreeing to some stricter policies at the border, but also stricter policies with regard to asylum. Basically, the senators figured out, Republican senators, that to prevent all these people from coming, prevent all these people from qualifying for asylum, right? I just mentioned that most of these people will be filing for asylum. They need to tweak the law to bar most of the people from qualifying for asylum by imposing new conditions on qualifications, for example, such as transit bar, something that was in and off for the United States asylum law in the past couple of years, such as, such as crossing the border illegally opposed to registering with CBP1 app, such as having potentially some criminal convictions, criminal history. All that, if you recall, have been discussed by the Trump administration before. It was rejected at some point, but now it's crawling back into the asylum system. And now it seems all these measures may have a serious chance of actually being passed by the Congress in exchange for help to Ukraine. However, as of now, and this seems to be a fresh article, senators have not agreed on any measures as to how they will be addressing the situation at the border, how they will be trying to address the situation of hundreds of thousands of people at this point coming monthly, right? 300,000 people last December coming to the United States, what to do with them. So why is it relevant for those who are in the United States? Well, because remember, the measures that are discussed now between the White House and the congressmen, senators, will most likely also affect those of you who are in the United States. They may have only bad, negative things. Sometimes they may also, hopefully, may contain something good for people who are already in the United States. So it's a very critical moment before the elections that are coming upon us in the end of this year. And I anticipate that something significant will happen for immigration. Currently, it seems it will be more on the negative side, but you never know. And it may very well turn out to be something positive in the very end, at least a glimpse of it. Another important news that you should not miss is the fact that USCIS is raising its fees. They're saying they're adjusting them for inflation. So check this out. Fees are jumping high. This particular change will affect premium processing application Form I-907 for those who qualify for it. Not every application can be expedited. Not every application is subject to premium processing. For example, I-130 petition cannot be expedited no matter how much money you think you can pay for it. But Form I-140 for certain categories, this is a form for employment-based petition. Form I-29, again, work-related petition. I-539, form that we use to change someone's status or extend status. I-765, employment authorization for certain categories. Those forms can be expedited, not always, remember this. And the fees jumping pretty high. If before you would have to pay $1,500, now you will have to pay, and not particularly now, some date in February, you'll have to pay $1,685. From $2,500, the fee is going to jump to $2,805. So from $185 to $305 increase for various categories of premium processing, pretty significant jump, but it's nothing compared to what may happen early spring when USCIS will potentially raise all the fees or most of the filing fees. So the point of this particular section of my presentation is this. If you have something to file with USCIS that you know you have to pay a fee for, do not wait, because later, potentially, it may be significantly more expensive. Okay? So now you know this information. Keep this in mind. If you have a case that you can file soon, do not wait. And now, if you guys have questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Hi, Jerry. Any changes in citizenship and naturalization? I'm not aware of any significant changes. I know that the citizenship test may be changed. If the proposed changes for the citizenship test will go through, it will mean that someone who would like to become a US citizen will have to have a better command of English. Maybe I would not even pass. I do not know. You would have to be able to in addition to writing and understanding, you would have to be able to describe a photo, a picture that an officer will be showing to you. So here is my best advice. And again, I do not know when this particular change may become relevant for those who are filing for citizenship. If your English is like mine, take extra lessons, okay? Take extra lessons so you will not be struggling during the citizenship exam. If you figured out that something is happening to you, you cannot learn English, right? You may be suffering from dyslexia, you have a memory loss difficulty. Please consult with a doctor in advance. See if you potentially may qualify for a medical waiver. If you do, and that medical waiver is accepted by USCIS, you will not have to deal with the English portion of the citizenship exam at all. But again, there are strict qualifications for that. You have to have a waiver signed and filled out by a professional, health professional. It's not so easy to qualify for that. Not everybody who doesn't want to learn English or cannot learn English will qualify, but it's something you should know about and something worth exploring if you have certain conditions, guys. Very, very important. Hi, Matt, watching from Albany. Hi, Jerry from New Jersey. Hi, Khan, I'm all right. Hi, True Wisdom, Happy New Year. My I-130 was submitted December 22. I got our fees for birth certificates November 7th, 23. Do you know how much longer this can possibly take? I'm in Mexico. My daughter is a US citizen. Truly would not know how long. The problem is that partially the process of receiving your consular based immigrant visa depends on you as to how soon you submit all the documents to the National Visa Center, and partially it does not depend on you at all. It depends on how backlogged this particular consulate is. So once you're documentary qualified, the case is pretty much out of your hands. You will have to wait for the consulate to give you the interview date. Hi, Amy from Nigeria. Nice to see you here. Thank you for joining. Hi, David. As I can guess, still dead silence for political asylum seekers who filed in 2016. Not necessarily. Not necessarily completely dead. Have you seen a couple of my videos where it was revealed through Brooklyn Law School research that New York, particularly New York Asylum Office, just denying cases because it's faster for them to deny it rather than grant it? I mean, that by itself is mind blowing, guys. That you basically, some people, when they refer to court, they feel so strongly about it. They say, my life is ruined. I'm in so much stress. I do not know what I'm going to do. And it happens only because the officer in reality simply did not have time for your case. But they're not going to tell you this. They're going to tell you that there are discrepancies in your testimony, or there is something else, wrong with your case. So it's not a complete dead silence. There is some negative information. It means that you will have to prepare for your interview very well. But in terms of when it's going to happen, you're right. I do not know. We'll see what's going to happen after that report. Report was fairly recent, within the past months and a half. So perhaps New York Asylum Office will be subjected to some significant changes in the way they process and address asylum cases. But in terms of a backlog, guys, unfortunately, backlog is significant, and 300,000 crossed just last month. Where do you think they're going? Where do you think they're going to be coming to? Most people are going to naturally attracted to large cities in the United States, such as Los Angeles, San Diego, Chicago, New York, and there will be additional pressure on court system in those and asylum system in those cities, meaning that the backlog is just going to be growing and growing and growing unless some significant changes are going to come, right? Hi, Hanan. How much does the cancellation removal cost? Please answer. How much does it cost? Each lawyer, well, I'm going to tell you something. So in New York, I think lawyers almost like advised not to publicly share the fees. There is some ethical issue with that. So for that reason, I'm not going to be sharing it publicly. I don't want to get into trouble with them, but I'm going to tell you that I'm going to give you a range, okay? What happens is that each lawyer has an hourly rate, and usually lawyers charge their clients either by an hourly rate or a flat fee. So hourly rates may be from $400 to $700, depending on the lawyer's experience, allocation, rate of success. Typically, to represent somebody in court, typically, it's going to cost you if you have a quality attorney who knows what they're doing, right? Currently, it's going to cost you between $15,000 to $25,000. All right. And I know it sounds like, oh my God, it's so much money. And it is. But a typical cancellation of removal application is going to be like that. It is going to have a lot of documents, a lot of preparation goes into it. Attorney has to present advisable. It's good if attorney does that. Legal brief explaining to the judge and the prosecutor how you qualify for what you're asking for. In my practice, I always do that because it makes everybody's life easier. So the judge doesn't have to look for clues as to who qualifies for what and why. The prosecutor may focus on specific issues and the case flows fast. But that's the typical range, all right? It's going to be expensive, all I can tell you. And again, some lawyers may offer some other ways, some other fees, some other retainers, different types. There are different types. There is something called a mixed retainer, value-based retainer. So different lawyers may offer you different deals. So let's put it this way. Hi, Ronald. I filed asylum since May 2016. I'm never interviewed yet. What do you think? I have to accelerate the process. I don't think, honestly, you will be able to do much to accelerate it unless in your particular state you can ask to be put on a short list, or there are grounds for you to ask for the case to be expedited. There are differences in between what shortlist is and request to expedite is. I usually do not recommend doing that unless you do have very significant reason, strong, true reason to expedite your case. It has to be convincing, usually related to a medical issue, God forbid. But other than that, you're in the same boat as we all are. Years and years of waiting, unfortunately. Hi, Basir. I just applied for asylum probably a year ago. Is there any way to bring my family before my asylum application approval? I crossed the border. Basir, I don't think so, realistically speaking. There is something called humanitarian parole, and you may try that to file for your family. Anybody can file it for anyone. Also, your family may try to use CBP1 app registration at the border. Again, sometimes people opt not to do that because of the wait times, uncertainty, potential detention. But there is no other way for you to bring your family to the United States until you win asylum. Typically, you'll have to wait to receive that asylum grant, and then you're going to file Form I-730 for each member of your family who qualifies. Well, guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for participating. We just had these little updates. If you find my video helpful, please like and share it. Don't forget to say hello. Thank you very much for encouragement, for your support. Again, I wanted to wish you all Happy New Year. I hope that this year is going to be way better than the past year, that all of you will be healthy, happy. You will be positive. To be positive is extremely important, guys. And you're going to choose always the right thing when you have a choice. It's also very important. Well, thank you very much for watching. And